up, crowdfunders? Salvador Brigman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And on this channel, I put out videos and educate about crowdfunding, raising money, getting funding for a startup venture, for an entrepreneurial venture, and really, how do you actually grow your business? How do you get an injection of cash or an injection of funding? And how do you use crowdfunding in order to sort of kindle that? So you can have the lifestyle that you want, and you can also create that lifestyle for you, for your kids, for your family, and sort of supercharge that vision that you have for your career in the future. Okay, let's talk about crowdfunding for a business. There are two types of crowdfunding that you're going to want to use if you are interested in using this for your business. And I kind of want to cover these just to be comprehensive. Now, the majority of crowdfunding happens on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. This is what is called rewards-based crowdfunding. This is basically, I would say, the majority of business-related crowdfunding happens with rewards-based crowdfunding, and this happens on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. These are two major platforms out there, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, for rewards-based crowdfunding. I'll get into why that is in just a second, but at the same time, there's another type of crowdfunding that a lot of people are beginning to use when it comes to business crowdfunding. This is called equity crowdfunding. Now, I've actually written a book on both of these. I have a book called Equity Crowdfunding Explained, which you can search on Amazon. You also can get an Audible version. I also have a book on rewards-based crowdfunding called the Kickstarter Launch Formula, which goes into how to launch a Kickstarter campaign. So I'm pretty familiar with both of these forms of crowdfunding. And the basic difference here is that with equity crowdfunding, when you do a crowdfunding campaign, you have this goal, maybe you're trying to raise $100,000 or $500,000, and in exchange for getting this money from people, you're basically allowing them to invest in your company. So they're not actual backers of your project, they're actually investors in your company. So an equity crowdfunding campaign is literally exactly as it sounds. You're giving away equity, and people are becoming evangelists of your company, but they're also getting a share of ownership of your company. And there are different regulations that go into equity crowdfunding, like regulation crowdfunding, regulation A+. I have a very comprehensive video out there on equity crowdfunding, which I put out on YouTube. And I also, like I said, I wrote a book about this entire subject. With rewards-based crowdfunding, this is a little different because there are always obligations that come when you actually raise money. So with rewards-based crowdfunding, let's just say you launch a campaign on Kickstarter, you have a $40,000 or $50,000 goal, you end up actually exceeding the amount that you've raised, and you end up raising $1 million or $2 million on Kickstarter. What happens after that? Well, you don't just get to keep the money and like fly the cash to the Bahamas and chill on the beach and stuff like that. You have to deliver on the rewards that you've promised your backers. So basically, people come to this campaign, they see that if they pledge $50 or $100 or $200 to your campaign, they gain access to the initial prototype of the product, or they gain access to the ability to maybe sit in on a Skype call and to meet you in person or to do other stuff. It really varies from campaign to campaign. But basically, they're claiming a reward for that amount of money. This is why we call it rewards-based crowdfunding. In exchange for raising all of this cash, and you're getting, let's just say, 1,000 backers or hundreds of backers, they then get to claim these different rewards. And usually, you then have to ship out the product or the initial prototype or whatever it is you're creating. You have to ship out all of these to your backers, and that's really when the magic happens, because they can play around with this product, they can give you feedback, they can share it with their friends. You basically have a tribe of people that are bought into you, your vision, they've given you funding, they now actually have one of these products. It's sort of the beginning seed stage of growing a very powerful business. There are a few things that I want to cover here, namely, what are the common elements of both a rewards-based and equity campaign, but also who is this for? Who is this good for? Traditionally, the types of projects that are going to be doing crowdfunding are hardware products, fashion, gaming or board games. It's also really great if you have like a design product of some sort. The ones that have kind of struggled a little bit more, the ones that kind of also lend themselves more to equity crowdfunding are apps and software. Now, apps and software have done pretty well with equity crowdfunding, but they kind of struggled, like I said, with the rewards-based crowdfunding. But in terms of the type of business that you have, basically what you should be thinking is, if you have a business which is offering a product of some kind, if you're looking to start an online e-commerce store, or if you're looking to do something where you're basically shipping out a physical product like a board game, crowdfunding is a perfect match for you. If you're offering more of like a service, let's just say you're a coach or you're a consultant and you will offer like coaching packages or consulting packages, crowdfunding is probably not going to be the best fit for you. It's usually a little bit more difficult when it comes to services. Now there are other like hybrid businesses out there, like let's just say you're starting a food truck. I've seen some very successful food trucks that have raised money with Kickstarter and Indiegogo, but it's definitely not the norm. You would usually fit into one of these categories if you're looking to use crowdfunding for your business. Let's talk a little bit about some of the elements of a crowdfunding campaign. If you're going to be doing this for your business, it is going to be spending some time and also investing a little bit in order to get this actual offering together so that you can raise 6 figures or 7 figures with crowdfunding. The first thing you're going to need, again, this is the same across both of these, is you're going to need a video. This is a pitch video. This pitch video is what people watch. It's the first thing that they see when they are encountering your product and your brand. The pitch video goes into the various assets of the product, the various features, the different things, different ways that people can use this, the different use cases. The video is what kind of arouses people emotionally and gets them being like, this is so freaking cool, man. I want to buy one of these. It is bread and butter marketing. Don't think of the video as some like instruction manual or some, venture capital presentation. It doesn't work that way. It's more consumer friendly. It's sort of actually getting them more interested in thinking about, what if I own one of these? Or this looks so cool. This person using this in this lifestyle, this really cool lifestyle he's leading, I want to own one of these. It's more of a commercial than like a business executive summary or something like that. In addition to having the video, you're also going to have images or GIFs. These go a long way to telling your story. The images can show different images of the team behind this product. It can show different aspects of the product. You can go into the different features and functionality, maybe talk a little bit about the problem or the different use cases where you can use this thing. The images are what sell the story. While yes, people will read the text on your campaign page, the human eye naturally is going to gravitate much more quickly towards images. So you'll see if you go and browse Kickstarter or you browse different equity crowdfunding platforms like Start Engine or WeFunder, etc., a lot of the campaign pages are very image heavy because that's what gets people excited about the product and want to own one of these and want to either back or invest in your crowdfunding campaign. The next thing you need with every single campaign is you need a funding goal and also duration. A funding goal is the amount of money you are seeking. This is how much money you need to make this thing happen, to make this initial production run happen, to make this thing a reality, to make this actual project something that people can one day own and actually sample. The fundraising goal, this is a kind of a misnomer because a lot of people think like, hey, if I want to raise $100,000, I should set a $100,000 goal, but that's actually not how crowdfunding works. The way that crowdfunding works is you want to set as low as possible as a goal, and usually almost 100% of the time, you're going to be overfunded because once you hit that goal of, let's just say $25,000, you then start trending well in the platform on Kickstarter or on Indiegogo or Start Engine or wherever. You start trending well on the platform, and then the platform starts to get behind you, start to send you out in the newsletter, you start to be ranking better in the marketplace, kind of like with Amazon, and then you start to rope in more and more backers. And because it's overfunded, people are like, what is this project that's blowing up? This is really interesting. I'm gonna take a second to watch the video. This looks really cool. So a lot of projects are actually overfunded. So with the fundraising goal, you want to set this at the lowest possible number and ideally try to go beyond this. Try to have that kind of a mindset. With equity campaigns, it's not going to be as overfunded as with rewards-based campaigns, but you can do a little bit of your own research and you can see how that plays out. Crowdfunding is also unique for having a duration, and this is actually bread and butter of any kind of marketing launch. You always want to have scarcity and you want to have a reason for people to take action now. There always needs to be a little bit of urgency to get people to take action. And the cool thing about crowdfunding is you have a fundraising duration with your campaign. So it could be 30 days, it could be 45 days, it could be 60 days, but basically at the end of that duration, you're closing up the campaign. People can no longer actually support you or gain access to this product or get this really cool discount or actually be able to invest in your company. This fundraising duration is what gets people to take action, and it sort of kindles that urgency to get them to actually not put this off, but instead give money now and get in now, because otherwise they're not going to be able to. The final thing that I want to talk about when it comes to crowdfunding for business is sort of what happens next, and so the fulfillment phase. So let's just label this as logistics / fulfillment. After you raise money with Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or you do an equity campaign, you then have to ship out the products that you promise. You have to maybe do this internationally. Maybe you have to actually finally get these products manufactured and do the minimum order quantity. With an equity campaign, maybe you have to actually do some shareholder management and continue to communicate with them. But there is a little bit of hand-holding that comes after the campaign. A lot of people think like, hey, I just raised $1 million. That's the end of the process. But it's actually not. That's the beginning of the process, because after you get all that money into your bank account, then you go out there and you make this product, then it gets to the hands of people. Once it is in their hands, that is the end of the process with crowdfunding. And then you also start to get some of that initial more validation and feedback, and you can then have a customer for life. If they enjoy the product, they'll then buy other products, or if you're doing another campaign, they'll support that campaign. I hope you enjoyed this sort of crash course when it comes to crowdfunding for business, and specifically the types of businesses that I think would be a good fit for crowdfunding. I have tons of other video and tons of other content that go more nitty gritty into different platforms, into like the marketing strategy, into fulfillment, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.